Hey everybody, it's Rod with Van Guns coming back at you with another video. Today, I want to talk about the one gun scenario. So the one gun scenario, what do I mean? What if you could only have one gun? Now, I'm going to focus on the one hunting rifle for this particular video, but I'm going to probably do a video in the future where it's you only get one gun for everything. And, then it's probably going to be an assortment of 12 gauge shotguns with multiple barrels, like an 18 and a 28 or something like that, or maybe a lever action, 45-70 or 30-30. That's a little tougher to kind of decide when you can only have one gun. But this is if you could only have one hunting rifle. Okay, so I think a lot of people are faced with this. I think a lot of people that want to get into hunting, it's an expensive hobby or sport, however you want to view it. For some people, they might only be able to afford one gun. Or you might have somebody that says, I'd rather have one really high quality gun, like a Weatherby Mark V. And if I can only have one, that's what I want. And I want it to do as much as possible. I want it to be versatile. I want to be able to do all kinds of hunting with that rifle. So what cartridge would I choose for my $2,500 Weatherby, Mark V Deluxe? Or maybe, you just don't want the three cheap guns. You want one good gun, right? Or maybe you can only afford one gun at any price point, right? Maybe you're looking at a Ruger American, a great gun, $500, fantastic gun for the money. And maybe that's all you can afford because, with hunting, you've got to buy ammo, you've got to practice, you've got other gear you really are probably going to want to invest in for successful hunting. So I get it. So what if you could only have one gun? So I want to focus on the cartridges. There's a lot of cartridges out there. There's some classic cartridges. I've laughed at myself because I've got a lot of those classic cartridges. That's a lot of gray hair up there. It's real. But there's also some of these modern cartridges that have come out. And some of these modern cartridges do a lot as well. So I want to focus on really, if you could only have one hunting rifle, what should you chamber it in? Irregardless of whether you're going to buy a high-end gun like a Weatherby or a Christensen Arms or something like that, or you're going to buy something more on a budget, like a Ruger American. So we'll focus on the cartridge for the purpose of this video. So let's get into the data and take a look at some of these cartridges and what might be the best all-round hunting cartridge. Okay, so before I get into my group of 5 cartridges that I think are just versatile all-round cartridges that, again, if you could only have one rifle, these 5 would be an excellent choice. But there's a few that aren't on this list that are more modern cartridges and are either a little too specialized or there just isn't enough rifles chambered in them yet. But these are cartridges that 10 or 15 years from now might bump off several of the cartridges on my list. This includes 7 PRC, 30 PRC, and 6.5 PRC, all 3 of those. None of them on the list. Easily you could sub them out for 1 or 2 of the cartridges that I do have on the list. So I just kind of wanted to start with that. So let's take a look at my 5 versatile all-rounders. Okay, right off the bat, you're going to notice there's no small calibers under 6.5. So no 243 Winchester, no 22 250, 25-06, nothing like that. And I don't have any of the big magnums up there either. Because remember, if it's one gun is all you get, I was thinking versatile, versatile, versatile. You could certainly swap out the 30-06 maybe for a 300 Win Mag if you were going to lean towards the bigger end of game choices. But the 300 Win Mag, as good as that cartridge is, it is not as versatile as the 30-06. And so that's why the 30-06 made it and the 300 Win Mag did not. Okay, the 6.5 Creedmoor. This is a love-hate cartridge. People either love it or hate it. It is the newest cartridge on my list. This cartridge was introduced in 2007, so it's the only one that was introduced in this millennium. However, it has become very popular and very common, and that helps it in the one-gun decision because you will be able to find right at your local gun store a variety of options in this cartridge. It is the least versatile, however, of the five. There's lots of guns available in 6.5 Creedmoor. Almost everything that you might be interested in getting is available in this cartridge now. And that helps it on my one gun to rule them all. Um, as most of you know, 6.5, it's noted for its long range capability, super high BC bullets, real flat trajectory. It isn't the flattest shooting gun on this list today, but it is very flat. It's got extremely low recoil. And if you really wanted to, you could probably substitute maybe a 243 Winchester. I don't like the 243 for an all rounder just because 100 grains is about it. For bullet weight, maybe 105. And if you get a rifle with a fast twist barrel, maybe you can go 115, but you're limited there. And you could also do 25-06, but that cartridge, as good as it is starting to really lose popularity. It's getting harder and harder to find ammo for it. And so maybe if you were reloading, 25-06 is a little more versatile than 6.5 Creedmoor. But 6.5 Creedmoor won it out because it's kind of overall better than the 243 Winchester and the 25-06 and a handful of other cartridges I considered as well. Okay, 7mm 08 Remington. Now, this is not an old cartridge per se. It was introduced as a factory cartridge by Remington in 1980, but it had basically been wildcatted for years. It is a neck down 308 Winchester. So just like the 243 Winchester is a neck down 308, so is the 7mm 08 Remington. The more and more I study this cartridge, the more and more I fall in love with it. This is a fantastic cartridge, and I feel like Remington just didn't market it very well. This thing should be dominating the list of short action cartridges. And honestly, if they had done a better job of marketing the 7mm 08 Remington, 6.5 Creedmoor may have never been invented. This thing, you can use high BC bullets on this, just like the Creedmoor. It's a flatter shooting cartridge. And you can go up to big bullets. You see on here, a 175 grain on that. So this thing is versatile. This is just 5 selected bullets. There was 15 or 20 bullets that you could do. There's 105s, 110s, 115s, 120s, 123s, 125s, 130s, 140, 140s, 150s. I mean, just tons and tons of bullets. It's like a reloader stream cartridge. Man, I like the 7mm 08. I'm feeling like I need to go buy a new rifle in 7mm 08 Remington. This is a cool cartridge. You got a light kicking cartridge here. It's going to kick a little more than 243 Winchester, but about the same as 6.5 Creed. And frankly, I think I'd rather have the 708 Remington than the Creedmoor. No, I know I'd rather have the 7mm 08 Remington than the Creedmoor. This is a great cartridge, guys. I mean, I can't really say enough about it. Super flat trajectory, broad range of bullet weights, low recoil. And this is one of the most versatile short action cartridges on the planet. I've looked at a bunch of them and just 20 different bullets, for crying out loud. It's like nuts. So, 7mm 08, give it a look. The venerable 308 Winchester. This cartridge was launched in 1951. It's just as popular today as it's ever been before. The 7.62 NATO cartridge is based off the 308 Winchester, and it is the most widely available cartridge in the United States for a centerfire rifle. And it's not even close. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of factory loads available for the 308. If you can't find 308 Winchester in your gun store, it's time to find a new gun store. That's one of the reasons it's on this list. If you can only have one gun, well, you want to be able to get ammunition for it. And it's just impossible to beat 308 Winchester for that. Now, if you're a reloader, then any of these cartridges that are on this list will be fine. You'll have all kinds of reloading capabilities. But some of us don't reload, including me. It is probably going to be my next gun adventure is getting into reloading. But I buy factory ammo. And for 308 Winchester, I got all kinds of options. You'll notice the range is pretty decent. You can go all the way down to a 125 grain. You're getting good energy out of that light bullet, and it's going to be about as flat shooting as you're going to get in 308. You'll also see it can put some big thumpers on there. The 200 grain bullet is, I'm not 100% sure you're going to stabilize that bullet in a standard 1 in 12 twist barrel that 308 uses. You might need a fast twist barrel for that. I'm not 100% sure, or you might have to be certain you use a certain kind of bullet. So you'd have to look into all of that. I don't think you'll find a lot of 200 grain factory loads, but there are some. 180 grain is the more typical heavy bullet for the 308 Winchester. And I find that the 168 and the 150 are just ideal in 308. And I do have a rifle. I've had several rifles in 308. Right now, I've got an AR-10 in 308, and I run 150s and 168s in that gun and have fantastic luck with it. The 308 is, what can we say about it that hasn't been said a million times before? It's a great cartridge, and it is everywhere. Okay, 270 Winchester. This cartridge came out way back in 1925. Yeah, it'll be 100 years old next year. It's based off the 30-06, so it was a necked down 30-06. It takes full advantage of that long action case, somewhat 64, 65 grains in the case capacity, and so you can do a lot with the 270. I'm kind of a fanboy of the 27 cal, and it's kind of funny because I don't own one, and but it's awesome. I'm looking for a 270 right now. I mean, I want one. And when I find the one that I want, I'm going to get it. But anyway, you look up there at the top, you got 85 grain bullet. But look at the speed on that 3858 flat face. That thing is just on a laser beam, and it's going to bring 2,800 foot-pounds to the target. Well, that's at the muzzle, but you get the drift. It's an 85 grain bullet that's delivering much bigger energy than you'd expect out of a little bullet like that. As you move down the list, you can see it's pretty versatile. I'm only showing you a handful of the 270 bullets. Not quite as many 270 bullets as you get with 7mm or with 30 cal, but a very, very good selection. You can get big 180 grain thumpers in there too, and your energy drops a little bit, and I'm not sure if it's because, a 180 grain and 27 cal is a pretty long bullet. So I suspect that it's dipping into the powder case a little bit, but still delivering, almost 2,600 foot-pounds of energy. Sometimes you just want a big bullet. Ideally, a 150 or a 130 in this is really probably the sweet spot for the 270 Winchester. It's a fabulous cartridge. Again, 270 is just a sweet size for bullets, and they're long and lean, and you've got all that powder to play with. So 270 Winchester, it's versatile, and it could be a great one gun to do it all. Okay, it's the 30-06, the granddaddy of American cartridges. Backed up back World War champ. You know the drill. Been around since 1906, so it's an oldie but a goodie. Now, it's the most versatile cartridge on the planet with the bullet ranges and the way that thing can be set up. I would say that the 30 PRC has matched it, and that's a very, very new cartridge. The problem with that cartridge, as far as this particular list is concerned, is that although many, many new guns are being chambered in that, and it's very popular right now, the 30-06 has been popular for 120 years. There are literally millions, plural, of 30-06 rifles out there, and people shooting them and buying ammo. So ammo makers always make a ton of 30-06 ammo. It's everywhere. In fact, only the 308 Winchester has got more selection of ammo As far as if you go into a gun store and you go look at the section where the 308 is, you go, holy cow, they got everything here. And then right next to it is 30-06, and holy cow, they have almost as much there. So that's part of the criteria of this was, can you go down to the store and get a lot of different kinds of ammo for it? And you absolutely can. 30 PRC, not as much. It's a little bit more specialized, and it just doesn't have that giant user base that 30-06 has. I suspect 30 PRC is basically going to replace 30-06. It's it's a little bit more potent, and it's just as versatile. And as people buy that cartridge and it becomes mainstream, um, and I presume it will at some point down the road, good old 30-06 will have to take a back seat to it. But for now, today, one gun, 30-06 would definitely be my choice over the 30 PRC. So one thing about the 30-06 is of all the cartridges on this list, it definitely has the most recoil. And some people that are recoil sensitive, the 30-06 might be pushing it just a little bit. I find 30-06 to be kind of the threshold. It's right in the middle. Anything with more recoil than a 30-06 is kind of a heavy kicker, and anything with less recoil than a 30-06 is kind of a light kicker. It's kind of that sort of benchmark. But for some people, it's just a little too much. But look at the bullets. You got 110 grain, Barnes TSX up there, 3,600 feet per second and 3,200 foot-pounds of energy. I mean, that's nuts. That's the Varmint Killer Deluxe. And then at the other end of the spectrum, 220 grain bullets, producing roughly the same amount of power, 31 to 3,200 foot-pounds of energy. The 220 grain thumpers, you can take just about any game you need to take with that. So it's not only versatile, but it's a pretty potent cartridge. Yeah, there's more potent cartridges. We know this. But this thing's 118 years old, and it's still hitting hard with some of the better modern cartridges. So its time is coming, but for now, it remains probably the best overall big 30 cal that you can get. So there's the data, and hey, it's an opinion, and other people have great opinions as well. If you think I missed the mark or forgot about a great cartridge, I was going for versatility here, and again, because we're assuming you can only have one gun, and so you got to have a versatile cartridge if you're only going to have one gun. It is difficult to really get one cartridge that can do it all. It's like the old saying, a jack of all trades is a master of none. And that's kind of true with rifle cartridges as well as it is in any other vector of life. So I hope that was helpful. That's all I'm trying to do here. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you think would be the best cartridge for the one gun scenario. And please hit that subscribe button. Give us a like. It helps. It really does. And I appreciate it. Be sure also to check out the Van Guns blog. All kinds of great articles. I've got reviews on there of a ton of different items, and I'm adding new reviews all the time. Got stories about various rifles and cartridges and so on that I go into a little more detail than I do here on YouTube. Got a link down below for that. So look forward to seeing you on the blog right back here on YouTube for the next video.